Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about buying and selling Disney Vacation Club. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Disney Vacation Club Show. The Disney Vacation Club Show is brought to you by the Timeshare Store. The Timeshare Store specializes in the sale and purchase of Disney Vacation Club properties. Their team of licensed real estate experts can help you with all your Disney Vacation Club needs. Call them toll-free at 1-800-550-6493 or visit their website at dvcstore.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table, as always, by my good friends, Miss Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everybody.
And from the Timeshare Store, Mr. Jerry Saito.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about buying and selling. This will be the last of the basic nuts and bolts, meat and potatoes type shows, just so you know. Beyond these, we're going to get into some more specific discussions and topics and things like that. We want your suggestions. If there are things you would like to hear us talk about, just send an email, podcast@disunplugged.com. And want to also make sure we give a shout out, because I forgot to do this on the last one, give a shout out to the DVC discussion boards over on disboards.com. Great amount of information. It has been invaluable to me in my process of buying both direct from Disney and through the Timeshare Store. And I want to make clear too, I usually do this, I received absolutely no consideration from the Timeshare Store in terms of my buying their resale. They didn't give me a resale, or they didn't give me like half off or anything like that. It's the same as anybody else. So when I talk about it, I'm not shilling per se. They are a supporter of the site. They've been a supporter of the site for 20 plus years. But, excuse me, I just wanted to make sure I was upfront about that there's no quid pro quo of any kind when I do that. I'm doing the same thing you do. All right. So with that, this process of buying Disney Vacation Club has been very interesting to me. I bought the minimum membership direct from Disney just to get the membership itself and the 75 points a year that come with it. And I've made an offer on a resale. And I think what scares me the most is how absurdly easy these processes have been. You pick up the phone and in a matter of moments, here's all the documents. This is exactly what we need. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about first the process of buying direct from Disney. I called and I got Gib was his name, Gib McCain, and he didn't have to go through the whole rigmarole with me because I knew a lot of it, and he just explained to me what the process worked like, and I asked, can I pay cash for it? What's the deal? Which is what I ended up doing on that contract. And it was just ridiculously easy. And then within a couple of days, obviously, once they get their cash, I had my login to the member services area. My points were available to me. And in fact, in about an hour, I go down to actually sign the papers. But for Disney, signing the papers isn't as important as making sure once they've got their money, you've got your points. Papers be damned. Now, a lot of people will do it they'll go do the tour at Disney. And do they still do Fast Pass?
I think they offer some incentive like Fast Pass or something to that degree. They might change it, but yeah.
I think they change it up a little bit sometimes, depending on. But I remember when we used to fly in and we did the tour for the first time, they picked us up in a DVC van at our resort where we were staying, and then they took us to go do the tour, and then they dropped us off at whatever park we wanted to go to with our fast passes that they gave us. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just couldn't believe it because now mind you, we were coming from Seattle.
Yeah,
we
but
didn't
also,
have
honey,
a rental car.
when the wind blows, you think it's magical.
I
so,
do.
you know,
Yes, I
we
definitely do.
gotta factor in that.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe how cool that was. Like the transportation of just being brought to whatever park you wanted to be brought to in this van that was just us. Like they really treat you nicely.
They do. It's low pressure compared to any other timeshare.
Oh,
Too
yeah.
not sleazy at all, is it?
No. Because they know that everybody wants what they've got. There's no pressure.
And when I had gone through the process, 20 plus years ago when John and I were together and we bought in Disney Vacation Club then, and I was amazed then how not only was it low pressure, they wouldn't let us, they did not want us to make any commitment right then and there. They said, wait till you go home. We want you to be sure this is what you want.
Aw.
And I was like, wow, which only made us want it more.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that or not. I don't know if they've
I think it's
tightened up their...
yeah, they might have changed it a little, but again, it all depends on who you have in front of you. So, but I think they are still very low pressure.
But when I say this was absurdly easy, and no, I didn't do financing through Disney, so I don't know, like, how does that process work if you're going to go direct through Disney? Do they set that up? Do they set up the financing?
Yeah,
Or?
it's all, I think they have their own internal finance options available, obviously. So their rates are competitive, what the resale rates would be. But yeah, you can finance directly through Disney. You could put it on a credit card if you want to, full amount. So that's a nice thing as well.
And the minimum point purchase through Disney for an initial purchase, for an initial membership is 75 points. But you can buy just add-on point, like 25. I want to buy another
Right.
25 points.
Yep. So let's say you bought a 75-point contract or a 200-point contract or whatever, and you find that you're constantly borrowing or you don't have enough points. You can buy up to 25 as an add-on. You can buy 25 as a minimum, and then whatever. You can buy up to 4,000 points if you want to at one resort.
And these are going for, right now, at the time of this recording, $188 a point is what these are going for. So I think when John and I bought into Old Key West, it was like 65.
Oh my goodness.
This was back in the dark ages. But think about that. All right. So now going through the resale market, it's a little more involved.
It is very simple and similar, but it's just more of a timeline. It's not 3 days later your points show up in your account and you're ready to go. There's a process. First off, you find the right contract. The agent will send you the paperwork, and then
Now let's just stop for a second and we say you find the right contract. So like on your website, and we'll talk about selling DVC in a little bit, but people that have decided to sell their membership, bring it to the timeshare store, they enter it into their system, it shows up on their website, and the website explains very clearly, how many points are available on this contract, what the cost is, and any specifics like, okay, right now, this contract has no points available on it for this year, and X number of points come available next year.
You're buying that contract exactly how the sellers left it. So, if there might be a full allocation, could be bank points, could be points missing, nothing till next year. So it's...
And that doesn't impact the price.
It does, yeah. Typically, the factors on price is location of resort, and then size of the contract, and then what's in the contract. So if there's no points till next year, the price generally is going to be less expensive. If there's a fully loaded contract with extra points in the bank, it's going to be on the higher side of the market. And there's a certain range of the market, so it's just finding a good balance of what you need. Are you not planning anything till next year? Well, then save on the initial purchase. Do you need extra points up front? Buy one with bank points, and that way you've got that.
And let's talk, when we talk about saving on these, I'm not talking about saving a few bucks with these resales, where $188 a point is what you pay going direct through Disney. On the resale market, obviously it varies widely depending on the resort and number of points and things like that, but it's not hard to find $95 a point, $100 a point, $105 a point. There's plenty of them on your site right now.
Right.
So we're talking about saving a significant amount of money. So they've found what they want. They found the contract they want. What's next?
So basically, we'll put together the agreement for the package. We'll email the documents, and then you just would print them off on your end or buyer's end and seller's end as well. They both do. And then they review, sign, and return within 7 days. We have a little bit more of a grace period, but 7 days would be within 7 days is ideal. And then once we receive the paperwork, we process it to Disney, and then Disney starts the right of first refusal.
There's an important step you're missing.
Well, it's the deposit.
The deposit.
Right. So the deposit amount's 10% of the purchase price, and that's due within that 7-day window. Can be on a credit card. It could be a check. So either way. But again, we do allow, there's a 14-day window, but we want it within 7 just to get things moving, not to let it linger.
Oh, yeah. No, you guys were like very quick. Like I had all the papers and stuff and the credit card authorization for the deposit and all that stuff. And it was, again, it's frightening because when it's easy, I mean, just from the standpoint that, like I hate going to buy a car because there's a thing. You're going to go through a thing. And then you got this guy that's trying to sell you this and trying to sell you that. And you got to haggle and all.
That's another thing, actually. So you can present an offer, and your broker or your agent will help you with that offer. So if you see a listing that you like, but maybe it's just a little out of range in terms of what you want to pay, we can present an offer to the seller. We'd negotiate that agreement, hopefully get that offer accepted. But if not, bring back a counter, or until there's an agreement reached, you'll get the documents. But you can present offers too.
All right. So once all that's done, once you found it and you've got your paperwork processed, then you send that contract to Disney.
Well, once everything's signed from buyer seller, submit it to Disney. It's a 30-day process for right of first refusal, and then once they give us the answer, we would be in contact to let you know. Good news, Disney's allowing that to go through, or we gotta help you find something else.
Let's talk about right of first refusal because it's a big deal. Disney, for obvious reasons, wants to control the price that these are being sold at. If they feel a property, and correct me if I'm wrong here, if they feel a property is being sold for too little, the price point is too small, rather than allow the property to be devalued or those points to be devalued, they will buy it back.
Correct. And we do assume it's based on price. I mean, it always tends to fall under a lower price point as bought back, but there are some that are priced even above market or at market that are bought back. So I'd say 85% get through, 15% get bought back, and it's kind of a hard.
Now, so what does Disney do with those points?
So they'll put it back in their inventory as call it resale, but they're selling it direct at retail. So their price, they have a certain price point for each resort. So their Saratoga Springs price, I believe is I think it's around 160 a point right now. So that property you bought at 100, they're going to put it back in their inventory if they buy it
so
back.
they take the right of first refusal, they buy it for 100 a point, and then they put it back into their inventory and they sell it for 160 plus dollars. Okay. So, but like if these resorts are sold out, why?
So they have wait lists of people who want to buy direct at certain properties.
Okay. Now that makes.
Even though they're sold out, they'll take one back and then help that.
So that's why they would buy. They may exercise a right of first refusal on a contract that's even at market because they know they've got this backlog of buyers waiting for these points.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So
and they know they're going to make
right
that
in.
$60 or $70 or $80 a point on it. Irrespective. Okay. All right. Now that makes sense to me. All right. So it passes right of first refusal.
So then we send an email to everybody involved, the buyer, seller, letting them know Disney's not going to step in, and outlining the next step, which is the title company is going to send closing documents. They're going to email them to you, so you just print them off, again, review them, sign them. Sellers will have to get documents notarized, but basically there's a FedEx envelope. You drop them in the mail, and it's trackable overnight back to the title company. So property will then close once everything has arrived from buyer and seller, and then it's submitted to Disney, and the deed is recorded, and about 10 to 14 days later, you'll be in the system, able to start booking reservations.
Okay, so obviously there are any number of things that can happen in the course of any business transaction, but you've been doing this 19 years, you said. So generally speaking, from the time I put an offer in, and I'm actually asking for myself here, from the time I put an offer in to the time, assuming everything goes right, that it closes and I get my points. The points show up in my account. What's the window?
So 6 to 8 weeks is closing, and then 10 to 14 days to get in the system.
So about 2.5 months.
Correct.
So an offer put in today, you would see 2.5 months before you had your points.
Right.
Okay.
Mid-April, late April, mid-April, yeah. That's closing. So maybe early May.
And what about people for whom instant gratification takes too long?
There's a lot of people who really want this to go through as quickly as possible. And there are some transactions that, for whatever reason, Disney waives quickly and title company gets things out quickly. So it can happen sooner. But on average, it's 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, that's just the norm.
All right, so let's talk about the other side of the equation. You've had your Disney Vacation Club for a while, and now you've decided, your vacationing habits have changed. You have to fund
kids going to college,
or
bill,
buying things at Best Buy, whatever it is. You want to sell it. And now will Disney buy back direct from?
So it is a
member?
possibility that if you call Disney and ask them to buy your property back, they might make you an offer. It's not a guarantee. Sometimes they do. And if they do, it's well below resale market value. So it's not a good idea unless you're just in a pinch and you need money right away.
So is that them just taking advantage of the fact that people don't realize they can do this on the resale market and get more money?
I don't know. That's a great question because I don't know. I wish I knew the answer of why they don't offer a resale value, like a typical value, and why they're offering such like a lower value. But
it would have to be for the purpose of, we want to get these points as cheaply as possible. We're just talking about getting it back in inventory. So I would imagine that would be it. So assuming people don't do that, what is the process?
It's really easy. And on the buying end, it's easy too. But basically, just contact our office. Let us know that you need to sell. We'll get information of what the property is and give you a price of what we can sell it for. We'll send you some papers to fill in. You send it back. We would we verify the points with Disney. You can provide that to us. But once we have the information, we list the points. Usually within a day to 30 days, we have offers and interest coming in. So the properties sell very quickly. We charge a commission at closing, so there's no upfront cost. There's no listing fee. If we don't sell your property, there's no cost at all. So commission's $8.50, I think I mentioned, and Disney's fee is $150, and that's coming out at time of closing. And again, closing takes about 6 to 8 weeks once we find a buyer. And you're going to get a check overnighted to you or a wire transfer if you want it for your final proceeds.
And again, though, because of the process, so still would take about, let's say everything goes ideally well. Let's say you get interest on your listing right away, about 2.5 months.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a little bit shorter because you don't have to wait for Disney to create the account. If you're the buyer, you have to wait for Disney to create the account and put the points in your account. If you're a seller, the day it closes, they're putting a check in the mail. So it shaves 10 to 14 days off of if you were a buyer. Buyer takes a little longer because it has to go through, you have to create an account. But sellers will get there 6 to 8 weeks when it closes.
I have a question about that. Do you think that
Jackie's going to sell her DVC?
No, but I'm thinking of what people might be thinking when they hear this. I'm not sure if you know, but if someone sells it right back to Disney, does the transaction happen faster?
It doesn't. No.
So there's not.
It follows.
Okay.
I apologize. Sorry. I was thinking if they're buying back on right of first refusal. If they're buying back on right of first refusal, they follow the contract. So it would close just like a normal closing. But if it's
they're
a personal
selling,
transact, like if they called Disney ahead of time and say we need to sell, it would happen faster. They'd be able to close a contract faster than this.
So that may
Then
be
through
it too.
resale,
That
so
if
that's
somebody's
why,
like
okay.
really desperate,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
it.
need that money now, or
Yeah.
like in a week.
Right,
I don't know what the turnaround is.
and
but,
they don't care if it's 10 million less.
so instead of getting $100 a point, you're going to get $50 a point.
Right.
they don't
But
care
you need
because
that
they're in
money
a hurry.
now. So that's almost predatory.
I know.
But-
I'm kind of like, because I'm thinking there has to be a reason that somebody would make the decision to do that, to give it back to Disney, sell it back to Disney, instead of using a company like,
I
the
do think
timeshare
some
store.
people just don't know. They
they
don't
don't
realize
realize.
there's a resale market.
Yeah.
They basically will contact Disney because that's who they bought it from.
Right.
And hey, I need to sell this. Can you help me? Oh yeah, we can do that. Here's what we'll offer.
Oh,
now,
gosh. Yeah.
again, it's not on every transaction. They do refer outside. Like they will send you somewhere else. We have, DVC guides that have recommended our company many times. I've heard that through phone calls and clients saying, "Oh, I was referred by Disney."
Nice.
So you do get that too, but in some cases they will make an offer, and it is lower than market. Disney will make an offer.
That
Intriguing.
makes sense. But it's fast. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense because, people get in a pickle or whatever.
In a pickle.
Yeah.
You're in a pickle.
In a pickle.
Sell your
with the
DVC.
money. Yeah.
Well, I hope that is something I never have to worry about.
Same here.
But it is very easy. You'd mentioned like buying direct. It's easy.
I'm going to be honest with you. Like,
It's a waiting game with resale. That's the issue.
right. And
Yeah.
that's not, okay. That's not hard. Okay. It's like I said, instant gratification takes too long for me. But I'm also an adult and I understand how the world works and all that stuff. What really is the hard part, I think, for me is waiting to find out the right of first refusal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a very common, like constant emails from clients, and we embrace them. Please send them if you have questions. We're there to answer questions, help you throughout the process. But yeah, people want to know, am I going to get an answer on this? When am I going to get an answer? So it's
yes. Like, oh my God, we have threads on the boards. So many waiting. There's a huge waiting for
Well, there was
right of first
also,
refusal thread.
and we should talk about this. Somebody has taken it upon themselves. I don't remember the poster's name, and I'm very sorry, but let me just say thank you for the amount of work you have put into this thread where they are tracking. They're having people tell them what the results are on their contracts and whether or not Disney exercised right of first refusal. Now, I had mentioned that to you, and you said, yeah, it's great, but.
there is a but. It's an awesome source for information and to know, what things are passing for, what they're not. But you really have to look at the most recent buybacks versus passing or waiving through Disney. Things that passed a year ago or 6 months ago or even 2 months ago aren't necessarily applicable to what passes today. So your broker agent will help you with that. And you have to have faith. I mean, it's not 100% science. We do the best we can to grasp where Disney's at. But look at the boards, kind of get a feel for it, and then, follow up with an agent to say, okay.
But yeah, don't, because I got excited because I saw like 6 months ago, same number of points at Boulder Ridge at the same price I put in for passed.
Right.
I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get these. And then you said, well, hold on.
Yeah.
It changes like the wind. And what
Yeah.
happened 6 months ago.
Oh, absolutely. We get so many offers or interested buyers presenting offers on properties that they saw pass right of first refusal. I saw Saratoga pass at 60. I want to make an offer at 60 a point. And you just have to explain that's just not the current market. It's like buying a house, 10 years ago.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now, once Disney exercises right of first refusal, I can't go back and bid higher.
You can't. No, you lose the
It's
property
done.
to Disney. Disney steps in. We have to find you a new property or refund your deposit. And it's up to you. No hard feelings. If you decide, you're not going to move forward with a second purchase, no problem. We'll just send it back.
I'm lined up. I'm lined up.
Yeah.
Whether that goes through or not, I'm already got my next one. We were just talking about that.
And we want to help you find another one. A lot of people say, "Oh, it wasn't meant to be." I hear that a lot when people get right of first refusal. Then I'm like, it's not that it wasn't meant to be. It's just, where you're at price point is under where Disney's at. So, I try to advise what I think the best price would be. Sometimes people go under that. It gets bought back and, it wasn't meant to be. Just, Disney has the floor. They know where they want to be, and we try to help you get above that number.
And I'll say that, like I said, I can't say it enough, both with Disney and with going through the timeshare store, the ease of the transaction was amazing. You guys you really do have it down to a science. You guys really have it down to you've been doing it for
it's
20 plus years now.
Yeah, it's just the weight is the killer. That's the only thing.
Well, I've waited longer for less. So that's how I'll choose to look at it. All right, that, folks, is going to do it for this episode of our show. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you again next week with another episode of the Disney Vacation Club Show. Have a great week, folks.